to navigate ourselves to this place of peace, no matter at what level of suffering we are.
Not to wait till something happens and then you wake up.
Sure.
I agree.
And I mean, how prepared can we be? It's not a matter of being prepared. You have to get equipped for life. You can only prepare yourself so much, you know, you have to trust in the uncertainty. But we will all experience suffering. This book is all about riding the waves.
That's life, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And the truth is, we'll all unwrap in due time, but I would love to say, why wait for the crisis? Let's look at it now.
I'll tell you what, she has a very interesting poem here about writing your own eulogy. I found that fascinating. You want to talk a little bit about that?
That definitely
made me think.
It was the most, you know, this book is all about self-exploring and self-reflecting. So what I do is when I write a poem, I reflect. I talk to God, I talk to myself, and I often start slightly confused, and I often move through it, so it's like a story, and then I come up with some of my own answers, and some have no answers.
Right.
And I trust in that place, in that unknown territory. But when I was watching my mother and I knew where she was ultimately going to be, I didn't know how long, but I started the greatest possible reflection on what is the meaning of my life and what is my purpose. I know that I'm here to be a mother, number one, and a wife, and to maintain the traditions and all those beautiful things that my mother instilled in me. Yet I felt this inner drive, I was craving something more. And at that point, I just really started to say, what would people say about Terri if she were no longer here?
No.
Look at your life now and say, what's missing? It's wonderful, but what can I do to shift now? Why do I have to wait for an illness? Why do I have to wait for my end? Why can't I look at my life now and have these revelations and have these epiphanies? And that's what I did. So to reflect and say, am I truly happy? Am I truly satisfied? Yes, I have been blessed with everything I need in life.
But isn't happiness, everybody's got different...
Everyone's own definition.
Of happiness, yeah.
Most definitely. Some are happy through things, but ultimately I don't think any of us are happy because of what we have. Really,
we always want more.
We always.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
But it's striving and never arriving. And if you never arrive, how sad. Dissatisfaction always guaranteed, the way I see it. But for myself, it's like I find happiness through recognizing my blessings. And the moment I'm upset about something, I put it in perspective. I go to a place of gratitude. I find a blessing in that moment.
But explain, see, I'm listening to you, and the viewer may not understand what you're saying. I mean, I do because I've been through it.
Right.
Unfortunately, I had to get hit. You know,
2x4, cosmic 2x4,
you know,
right?
To wake up. I didn't, you know, take life and before something happened in my life. I had to wait. And, you know, while you were talking about your mother, and I read that, you know, it took her many years, and unfortunately, it happens to a lot of people. And I know while you were speaking, I'm just wondering, because for me, you know, my father passed away. I didn't even have time to say goodbye, you know. And you know, sort of, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, you know, very selfishly, what's better? What was better? You know, and then I'm thinking now, I don't think I wanted him to suffer. So even though, you know, it happened so quickly, you know, and I lost my father, maybe it's better this way. You know, I don't know. I'm just as you were speaking. This was not rehearsed. You know, this is just when you were talking. But anyway, we'll continue. So people not necessarily know what you mean going into another place. I know because I've learned. I've took the technique that other people have have taught me. But many people don't know what we're talking about.
That's right.
Is when you get angry, when you get jealous, or when you get anything, you sort of have to go to a place in yourself.
That's right.
Right?
But you have a tool that's called...
But I don't know how to teach the tool you do.
There's a tool that I have studied in so many different books, Excuses Be Gone, thought shifting.
Okay.
You are
in control of yourself.
Most definitely, you are the person who controls your thoughts and your feelings.
Yes.
And you don't need to go to a therapist to tell you that. You have the choice. You choose your words, you choose your feelings, you choose your words, your language, and that sets the tone for your day, and that is your world. That creates your world. You know, we see, not necessarily what we see, you and I can be looking at the same thing, and we can see two very different things, because we see what we perceive.
That's right.
What our vision is either, you know, broad or limited. We're narrow-minded, or we are accepting. So, you know, guide me where we're heading again.
It's okay.
No, you know what? I get emotional sometimes.
That's okay.
And
so that's okay. That's okay.
There's so much that I have to say. Oh, the thought shifting. I'm back.
That's okay.
But truth of the matter is, no one says to you what you are supposed to think. The people in the Holocaust were never told. They were given a choice still as to how they could think, no matter what they were put in. Viktor Frankl said that was the only thing that they were left with.
That couldn't take
so
away.
the doctors can tell you your diagnosis, and if you believe in this mind-body-spirit connection, if you believe that you can shift your cells, no matter what the diagnosis, if two people are given the same diagnosis, and if one person chooses life, and if one person chooses helplessness, one will live longer. And
absolutely, we're going back to every day. It's your choice. You have a choice in everything. And I'm going to reflect on my experience with my mother. My mother had an aneurysm when she was like 50 years old, really young, and she was in a coma for a long time, in the hospital like for 5 years. But anyway, when she came out of the coma after a month and a half, and every day, she was never bitter. She would wake up in the morning in a hospital, and we came to visit her every day and so forth, and she would always say, "Thank you, God." And she was not a religious woman, but she would say, "Thank you, God, for letting me see the sun." That was her thing. And believe me, she's still alive. My father is gone. She's still alive. But that was her thing. She was always smiling, always happy. She knew how to make fun of herself. She was like, we always would laugh with her, never at her.
Right.
But as the steps, as she took her steps. But she was always very happy for giving her a chance to continue living, So
she had her tools. That's what worked for her.
Yeah.
We all find there may be 20 tools in here that I give you, and I say, find the ones, choose the ones that resonate with you. And she chose that. And you know what? My mother was identical. In bed, bedridden, could go out maybe once a week, transfusions every month, chemotherapy, lost all her hair. I love my 13 grandchildren. I'm so happy to be alive, even the way she was living, if you called that alive.
I read a part here, A Mother's Endless Love, today. I was reading it today. And I'm telling you, it made me cry. I was like crying, like emotional. It was so emotional about the mother's love that after I read this, I swear to God, I BBM'd my 2 boys, because my third one doesn't have the BBM. I sent them a message telling them how much I love them, and I want them to have a wonderful day. And as I was telling her before, my youngest son says to me, like, "Mommy, like, where did you come out of anywhere? Like, he figured something made me so emotional. Like, where did I go?" And my other one just said, "Ima, I love you more." And this was so emotional. And this is from her book, which was fascinating.
Isn't it amazing?
I always tell my kids I love them. I'm one of those that kiss them and hugs them and embarrass them all the time in front of friends. I have no problem. But it was an extra message, and it's wonderful.
It's so nice when we surprise them. Like, I know that the old me, and I always I have an old me and a new me, because the new me has shifted to this place where I'm really loving life, and I'm loving the journey, and things that used to irritate me and make me want to scream, or they just don't anymore. And the truth is, the battle that they're waiting for, your child does something, and they're waiting for you to get upset, and you're not going there.